Thanks for taking a few minutes. Watch this with me. Today I want to talk about catch the fever rods, and I've got a couple of different models here. And you've heard enough about how awesome they are, and they are great rods. But I want to give you some possible detractors depending on how you fish, where you live, getting there and back. What I used up until recently for all my bass, catfish, and striped bass was this plain simple and rather cheap Berkley cherry wood. I've done a short on YouTube recently about this. I'm not planning on buying any other rods from Berkley ever again after my last experience with them. Have I caught a lot of fish on this? Absolutely. And I'm going to continue using these pretty much just for bass moving forward. These other rods, this is a 7-foot medium heavy, and like I said, it has worked. These catch the fever rods, overall length is 7 foot 6 inches. The actual rod itself past the reel, it's not that much more, guys. It's about 2 inches. The rest of it is back here in the butt, and that causes some possible challenges with you depending on how you fish. This is the rod holder I had on my boats. With that extra butt length, I couldn't use it. So I had to buy brand new rod holders to be able to use these on my boat because of that extra length. Also, if you're used to just using 7-foot and smaller rods, that extra length can cause some other problems besides the rod holder. I can't put these in the back of the truck I have, even at an angle. I have a rather short bed on mine, so that might not be an issue for you. But for me, if I'm going to take these rods fishing, they've got to stay in the boat. I cannot take these and secure them in my truck as I'd like to. So those are a few things to consider that might be problematic, as well as when you take them in your house, you might be rubbing the ceiling, putting them in the rod holders. Now they do come with holders. This Hellkite is a fabric model. You've also got mesh models for the Striper Stealth and the trolling models. That helps keep your rod from getting scraped up. It doesn't help keep the ceiling from getting scraped up. So another problem as far as storage goes with these rods versus a 7-foot and smaller rod that a lot of you may be used to using. Now, as I said, that rod tip, it's not significantly longer, so it's not going to be a whole lot of additional play and leverage on the fish. That butt can be valuable to help you when you're fighting something that's significantly larger. That's one of the pluses of these larger rod setups. The other thing that I love about these is the way the reel seat locks in here. This is not going to be anything of significance if you're just fighting bass that are average, somewhat larger size. That's not going to matter. When you get into larger fish, this traditional reel seat, plastic, it becomes a problem. All that torque, all that pressure on a long extended fight, these things start to come loose. When I'm in the middle of fighting a really big, heavy fish, I don't want to have to pause and push and pull and try to battle to get this reel seat back in while I'm still got a fish on fighting. So that's one of the true benefits of these rods over something that's more traditional in setup. Going into the details on the different types of rods they have, this is the trolling model. It's a medium light model. It's one of the less costly of the models they have. And personally, it's my most preferred one for most of the styles of fishing I do. I fish on rivers with a lot of current, and that little bit of tip helps keep you from getting snagged, helps keep the action on the live bait or cut bait more realistic, and keeps those fish that might be a little bit shy on getting some pressure to take that bait more. When you're drifting and trolling, it keeps you from getting snagged and hung up as much. Medium light, that sounds a little wimpy to most people that have read and listened to others fishing. This thing has worked great for me so far. I haven't gotten a new state record in catfish, but I've caught some significant fish on this thing, and it's done the job very well for me so far. The Striper Stealth series as well is great. The medium light, it costs a little bit more than the trolling model they have, the Big Cat Fever, but I will say it costs more. And something this rod does not have, it's really cool, nice looking gray all over, but that white tip this one has, I prefer that. It helps you see what the live bait's doing, or if you got a bite on, it's a little bit quicker indicator. And then the Hellcat, probably their most promoted in the series. This Hellcat is medium heavy. It's very stout for still water. This is probably the best option. Will it work drifting and trolling? Yes, I've done it. This was the first one I was able to get thanks to our supply chain issues in recent years. So this one has done well too, and for night fishing, even if I'm trolling or drifting, I prefer this rod just because it is so visible. You can see this rod in the dark. It almost glows. It's so bright. The foam handles on it, I've always been more of a traditionalist with cork, but you can get a really steady, good solid grip on this even when you got some cat slime on you. It still works very well, and I believe it's going to last for years to come. These are all made in China, but they are sold through the Catch the Fever, which is out of Roxborough, North Carolina. So some of that money goes local to us. And they also, for those of you that have dreams of winning in tournaments and also possibly catching a record fish, if you go on their website, you can get details on how they will pay you money to win those tournaments and catch fish using their equipment. The rods, you get a certain amount, and then if you're also wearing clothing by them, you can get some more amount. So if that's a dream of yours, these rods might actually pay for themselves and then some in the future. Hope all this information has helped you maybe decide if this is worth making the big financial investment, and if so, which kind you might want to get. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and do consider looking at that short if you want to go the cheap route with the Berkeley Cherry Woods. Thanks again, and have a blessed day.